Good day, everyone. It's great to see all of you, and thank you very much for joining. A warm welcome. This is our first system navigation and support webinar for 2023. We will be hosting these webinars once a month. So if you look at your Shadowmatch calendar on the events tab on one of our websites, you will notice that it's the first week every month is the system navigation and support webinar. And the aim of these sessions really is to support you, our system users, is to give you the opportunity to ask questions. So towards the end, like always, we will enable your settings so that you can unmute your microphone. Then we will allow for questions and for us to just share some basic system navigation. We all use the system on a daily basis and we get used to the normal easy to use functionalities because that's what we use. We send an invitation and we might create a team, but there are some of the functionalities that you might not be aware of or that you might not be using on a regular basis. And that's the aim of these sessions, is to really take you on a journey through the entire system so that you can optimize the usage of the system for your clients and for you as a Shadowmatch consultant. So obviously these sessions are open to all our system users, and the invitation has gone out to all the system users. So to the consultants, please encourage your clients to attend these sessions. As you have seen, you might have seen that we are recording the session. It will become part of our resource library on our YouTube channel. The link will be available on the calendar later today. So you are welcome to share the link of this recording with other consultants and with your clients. Now, as most of you know, my name is Lizette de Villiers. I will be the host, and our presenter today is Suzanne Conradi. She's the General Manager at Shadowmatch, and I think there's no better person than Suzanne to take us on this journey through the system. I think she's probably one of the people, if not the person that knows the system best and that knows all the ins and outs of the system. So she's here. She will be taking us on the journey, and she will also be available to answer questions. Like always, you're welcome to make use of the chat. I will answer those questions, and I will also position those questions towards the end of the webinar if there's something that we would like Suzanne to touch on, or maybe just to show us again on the system specifically and practically. I think that's all from my side. Maybe just a last comment. Please remember, dear participants, that this system is aimed at the Shadowmatch engine. The Shadowmatch system used for recruitment and placement, development of people, team functionality, obviously the team analysis part of Shadowmatch, as well as personal well-being. Most of you know that we also have a Shadowmatch coaching system. We will not address questions with regards to coaching in these sessions, but because these sessions, as I rightly said, these sessions are aimed at the Shadowmatch engine, the business engine. When you go to the Shadowmatch calendar, you will see that once a month we also have the Shadowmatch coaching Q&A sessions. So that's where we will address coaching questions. In the meantime, if you have a burning question, you are welcome to send an email to coaching@shadowmatch.com. We will respond to your question, and we will also add that to the list of questions that we then discuss and go through in our coaching webinar. I think that's all from my side. If there's anything that I've missed, Suzanne, then you are welcome to just touch on that. Thank you very much. Over to you, and we look forward to this session. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Lizette. Thanks for that lovely introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I am so happy to be spending some time with you today. Thanks for giving us your time and joining us today. So I'll be focusing on a few great navigational tips and practical resources on the Shadowmatch engine itself. I'll be working with a fictitious company using fictitious data, but everything I'm doing, you will be able to do live on your side with the own data in your organization or in your client's organization. So let me share my screen, then we can take a quick look at what we are going to be addressing today. So let me just open this slideshow and we'll see. Okay, so just the lay of the land, what are we going to be focusing on? Firstly, we're going to be looking at our PDP progress export. Then we'll move over to the general export functionality. Then we'll look at the stats functionality, and then we'll be looking at the managing of our worksheet invitations. We'll be looking at how to delete our teams. And then lastly, we'll be looking at the reports for individuals, for the public. Okay, so let's log into the system and focus on that first one, our PDP progress export. Now, firstly, if you're not at all familiar with the term PDP, if this is the first time you're hearing this, let me just quickly give you the foundation for the discussion. So In Shadowmatch, we refer to our personal development programs as PDPs. These programs focus on specific habits, the habits measured by the Shadowmatch worksheet. So there are 19 different habits and we have 20 different PDPs, each focusing on a specific habit. And then there's a time management habit or time management PDP as well. These programs you request for an individual, they embark on this process, and then they work in phases. They focus on specific tasks. So in each task or in each phase, you would do a task and you would do a task and you would do a task until you slowly but surely start building that habit, building that neuron pathway to make that individual fit in that specific habit. Because that's the principles behind the PDPs. Now, if you start utilizing this function effectively within an organization, the tracking of this can become quite immense, because now you need to know, okay, who is busy with which program, when did we request it, when did they start, and which phase are they? So in small format, easy to do one-on-one, but the moment you get larger numbers, you want to track this effectively. So this is what I want to show you today, is how do we track this whole PDP rollout within an organization? Quite nice, quick and easy, where I find this on the system. Let's just quickly, for a refresher, go and look where would we request the PDP. So if you go to any individual and you go to their reports, let me just move my Zoom screen. There we go. Let's use Tanya for today. And if I click on her results and I scroll down to the bottom of my page, I'll see this button here saying request PDP. This will then show me the PDPs at my disposal, which I can request for her. You'll see it's all of the individual habits, and you'll see some of them are recommended. So this is how the system enables you with the full development scope needs in your organization. Is if an individual is compared to a benchmark. Now, if you are not familiar with these terms, please let us know. I'm going to use Shadowmatch jargon throughout this session due to the nature of our audience. But if at a stage you say you're not familiar with the term, please just let us know. But on the system, you can create benchmarks for a specific role, where you can map the context of the habits required for success in that role. And if you then compare an individual to this, you would have recommended PDPs that would guide the whole process of which PDPs would make sense. Okay, the moment we request a PDP, we then allocate a mentor to this individual. The mentor is the individual that's going to be walking this road with the individual and keeping them accountable. The mentor doesn't have to be at all effective in this program, effective in that specific habit, because all of the content is in the program. It's there at your disposal. You just need to click and activate it. The mentor is basically just the individual checking in and start asking the person embarking on this program, where are we? In which phase are we? Giving them positive feedback throughout. The personal development happens with the individual, with the tasks that they do. Okay, so that's the mentor process. Now I want to track all of this. Let's say I've requested one for Tanya in this specific file, but I've requested 20 others in a different file throughout the year. Where are we? So for this, I'm going to go to my main menu here on the left side. In my screen, it's in maroon, and you'll see there's an option here that says export data. If I click on export data, it's going to give me a few export options. Now you'll see the system's intelligent. It's saying, oh, you're looking at PDPs, so you probably want to be focusing on PDPs. So it's already giving me this option here to say the PDP export. Now, just look at what the system did next. Is because I'm already in a specific file, it's filtering it for me to say, okay, you're working in customer support, you're looking at PDPs. Do you just want this, or do you want it wider? So if I wanted to request it for the entire business, I'll just go back one step, not be in customer support. Let's say I'm on my home screen for company. Let's just take Tanya away. Let's say at this point, I say, okay, what's going to happen if I do my export now? I click on export data and I now select my PDP option from my drop-down list. Do you see this changed? Now it's picking up, oh, okay, we're looking at a wider scope. Do you want the full export of the company? Now, if I'm responsible for the development planning in the organization, this is probably what I need. I need the full scope of what's happening within this organization with the development. So give me for the entire company X, obviously fictitious company, give me the detail of what's happening. Now let's just take a look here at the screen and see, okay, what do we have? Lots of valuable fields that we can pull into that export. So it's obviously going to be the names of the individuals, when it's requested, the mentor's details, if it was paused, all of this. And if we click download, the export is downloaded to my device. Let's see what this export looks like. I've opened up one earlier for us, just that it's ready for our discussion. So you'll see it's going to firstly give me the mentors or the mentees details, the person completing this program. There we go, name and surname. When did they start this program? And then have they finished it? Some of our PDPs have already been completed. Some of them are still in process. Then we can see which PDPs are they embarking on, discipline, altruism, self-confidence, any of those ones we looked at earlier is allocated to this individual. What type of PDP is this? Are we focusing in a general business environment, or did we request it in a sport or an academic environment where the PDP focuses on that specific environment? At this stage, I'm working in Company X, so we're working with the general PDPs. It's screen-based. I can see who the mentors are, what active phase they're busy on, the number of phases in this process. So where are we in the process? We are at 3 out of 10 for this individual. And then we can see at the end, is there feedback required for the mentor? So with one click of a button, I see the entire scope. Now, obviously, this would then be linked to what's my next step? Do I want to give feedback to the manager in sales to say, you know what, the 5 people doing PDPs in your department, 2 of them have completed it, 3 of them are still busy. This is the mentors, and. So I can use the data as I need for my reporting or my tracking. But did you see how the system enabled me with one click of a button to have everything there? I can check in and off we go. I could have added the email addresses of these individuals as well if I wanted to contact them, maybe check in with the mentors. So that's my PDP progress export. Click the button, request my PDP data, and I can filter it either per section in the company, so per specific department, sales, finance, HR, or for the entire company as I've requested it today. If the system allows me to do this, it's probably going to give me other exports. So this is now bringing us to our second topic for today, is the general export function. Now we're going to go to that same button, but now we're not going to choose the PDP progress export. We're going to say, let me focus on shadow match data. So I'm clicking on my left main menu. I'm clicking on the export data. And now the drop-down list, remember we chose this one the last time. We're keeping it on the shadow match data. For now, I'm also saying, show me the entire company. And now I'm going to get a complete export of who completed the worksheet when, in which file, and then look at the great options I can also download here. I can see things like they match to the benchmark. So if I select this, okay, great. Now I can see how they match to the specific benchmark in their file. I can see things like the recommended PDP. So which PDP would be recommended for which individual? So just imagine if I need to do all my training planning for the year, and I just pulled this export to say, okay, I know my benchmarks are sorted. I know the individuals were compared to the benchmarks in their specific roles. If I click this export here, that one column, the recommended PDPs, is going to guide me to say who's going to be doing resilience, who's going to be doing problem solving, and tailored per individual to what they need. So obviously, if I click download, it would download this export. Let's quickly take a look at what this looks like. Now, once again, I just opened one up. We're finished with this one for now. And now we can look at our general export. So you'll see, I can say how much of this detail that I want. So I selected a lot of those boxes. So it's giving me everything from when they've completed the worksheet, what was their time, what was their scoring for the conceptual fitness, their task efficiency, their recommendation score in the specific file, the overall match, a lot of detail, including this recommended PDP column here, where I get the entire scope of which PDP is recommended for this individual. Once again, I have it in this format, so now I can start playing around with this data to say maybe I need to pull a trend analysis to see, okay, which PDPs is recommended the most often in this specific department, or any of the other ones. If I want to rank and filter it, I have it in the easy format of a data export. Okay, so that's our data export. Please play around, go and see what happens if you filter it in a specific department, or if you select only certain options at the bottom. As you can see, the moment you download it, it's on your device, and there's obviously not a limit. You can go and click and click and click again, and it's just going to pull that export for you again. Okay, so that concludes our 2 export options. Now, we looked at the export, but there was a button right next to it that I don't want to ignore for today, because this is a very valuable button as well. And you'll see the overall theme for today is managing and tracking my data effectively. How am I keeping tabs on everything that's happening within the wider scope of my shadow match system? Now, the stats option gives me that entire picture of what was requested when, so which reports were requested in which file by which individuals. Now I can request it either here in the left side menu, or if I go to my top menu, if I click on this drop down arrow. I hope you've clicked on that arrow before, and this is not the first time you're seeing it. If you click on the drop down, you'll see there's a different style of navigation to take you to quick links, and I can click on stats here as well if I wanted to. So either here or there, it takes me to my stats page. And now this is obviously now the fictitious company I'm working in. So I'm just going to quickly jump to the date I've imported this data. Obviously, if it's your live company, it will reflect everything you do every day. And hopefully there's a lot cooking there. But for this, I'll just show you this example. You see, for instance, in this year, in September, there were 62 individuals completing the shadow match worksheet. And if I click on it, it opens up the detail. So now I can see, okay, who completed it when, in which file, what happened. And once again, now I'm asking it to do it for the entire company. If I want to filter it down to a lower level, I just want to see what happened in sales. I can go to sales and do the exact same thing. But now I can see the entire picture, who completed the worksheet when. This is a very nice function for you to also track for invoicing. So if you're an option that at the end of the month, you're invoiced for the usage, you can verify the invoice every time to say, okay, 62. One relationship report was requested, maybe 2 PDPs that month. So everything that happened will always show on the stats. The click of a button, you can see and keep tabs of everything. So yeah, that's your stats. You can also export this. It's going to pull it down into an Excel spreadsheet for you with the dates where they completed it, everything just in a different format in that option of a spreadsheet. Okay, so that's our exports. Let's move on to managing our worksheet invites. Now, this is probably also something that you do quite regularly. It's probably the first step in the engagement is you're going to invite someone to do the worksheet. Now, in small scale, easy to manage, yesterday I invited Lizette in this specific file, it's there. But think about if the numbers start picking up. How do we keep track of which worksheets were sent? Who's outstanding? Who still needs to complete the worksheet? So luckily, the system helps you to work with this effectively. So for now, I'm going to go into any of the departments. Let's go to customer support. I go to customer support and I go to a send invites page. So all I need to do is be on a send invites page anywhere within my organization. This stage, I'm in this file. So send invites, I can either do it from my quick and easy links on this side of the system, or on the left side in my main menu. This takes me to both of these buttons, takes me to the same screen. It's just your preference of navigation. So if I click on the screen, I would see, okay, but in this specific file, what happened? Okay, so in customer support, who received invites? So this is a quick summary to say, okay, these individuals received invites when, what was the email address? And as we said, okay, this is easy. If it was just the 3 individuals, okay, great. Now I know these 3 individuals, they're still outstanding. But what if I send 50 invites or 500 invites and I want to see the entire picture? Now, this is the button I want to show you today. You might have missed it. A few of our users have said, but how do you get this option? And here is a button. Thank you to our developers. They added this great option here. If I select this and it says show email invites across entity, and I click it, it's going to give me the full summary of what's happening. Now I can filter around to say, okay, no, wait, I have more than 10 invites. Show me everything. Show me everything that's happening. And I want to know in which file. So see how the system, it gives you the information you probably want to see. But if you want to know more, add a column. So I've added location. Now I know, okay, great. These invites were sent in finance. These invites were sent in business development. So the entire picture of where were the invites sent, in which file. Obviously, I can add other files like created by, was created by me. I sent these invites. So if I have various system administrators using the same file, I would see, okay, great. Lizette sent those invites, Fred sent those invites, Suzanne sent those invites. So it's a complete picture of what happened. If I want to remove it again, I just select this, and now it's a smaller scope. Now, once I see the entire picture, I see, okay, who received invites when. I might want to do something with this. Let's say the finance manager asked me today, please follow up with the individuals that received invites. I want them completed before the end of the week. Then I can select them, these few individuals in finance. And the moment I selected, did you notice that this button became active? Because now the system says, oh, okay, you have information for me. What do you want to do with it? And I choose this option. And now I can either send a reminder, tell them, please complete the worksheet invite. What happens then is the same invite goes out again with the message I put in to say, hi, please remember to complete the invite. So they will just be reminded, or I can remove. If I want to remove this, it's not applicable. They're no longer part of the process. I can remove them. So let's see what happens if I remove. Off we go. And now they're not part of my summary anymore. And you see what I did? I'm in customer support, but I quickly sorted out finance. So I didn't need to click back to finance and go there. On this one screen here, because I have this selected, I can manage everything effectively there. Obviously, if I deselect that option, it's going to filter it down. Now, whilst we're on the screen, I just want to mention a few quick things to highlight on this page. So the first one is this first option is always your best option. There's a very good reason why we put it first there for you in maroon bold to use that option, because it's quick and easy and everything will happen that needs to happen. I'm sending invites to individuals, completing their details, and they receive the information they need with their own unique link to their own worksheet. Obviously, if I'm using larger numbers, I can use the bulk option, but the same thing happens. So the send emails invite option. At the bottom of the screen, or a bit lower to the screen, you'll see there's a send codes option. Now, this option is only if the individual does not have an email. Now, hopefully in the year 2023, most individuals that is part of the process does have an email, or if they cross your path, your organization's path without an email address, it's the perfect opportunity to say, let's get you connected with the email address. I think it takes 3 minutes from start to finish to actually activate an email account, complete the details, all of that. So I would rather recommend, before clicking on this option, creating your email address, sending them the invites. But if for whatever reason the organization needs it, there is an option here where you don't use email addresses, you use codes. More detail on that if you need it. If you want this in the organization, contact your consultant. They'll explain the details for you. I don't want to highlight this option today. I want to highlight this one because that is the preferred option. And you know, everything happens. We've thought of everything and it happens smoothly. Okay, so that's our managing our invites across our entity. Now, the next option, I quickly just want to open my slide again, is we're now going to jump to the team functionality. So you see we worked there. Now we're going to go to our team option. Let's just open this slide. So the team functionality in Shadowmatch is a comprehensive functionality of integrating individual results into a team context and seeing the entire picture of the team. So how do the habits combine as a team? How do the individual habits compare to this? Which roles would you allocate into a team? So it's an amazing function. And unfortunately, today is not the purpose of showing that function, but there are great resources. And here's a few quick links that you can quick and easy go to the webinars that unpack this in detail. So the full practical team analysis, everything, where do you click? How do you do it? Where do you find it? And then the psychology of teams, fascinating. And I would say, what is the psychology supporting what you see visually? Now, for the audience we have today, I hope you are familiar with the team the team functionality. So we're back to our theme for today is managing the things on the system effectively. So if you've created 1 million teams or 50 teams or a lot of teams in your organization, you might want to start cleaning up. So you've created teams, let's say you did it for the intake in 2020 and then again in 2021. So your team list might be getting quite robust and maybe not relevant. And you quick and easily want to clean that up again, we have an option for you. So the teams are listed here at the top in these navigation buttons. If you see I hover over, it'll show me what is going to happen if I click here, and it's saying show teams. So I click on teams. Now here's just a small number of teams. It's just our little demo file. But once again, imagine if there were 50 on this list, it could get quite full and robust. So if I go to the edit option, there's an option that says delete. Now you won't see delete very often on our file because we want to value your data, that someone doesn't delete it per mistake and then everything is gone. But for the teams, there's a lovely button that says delete. Where do you find it? Let's say sales 2023, it's not applicable. I put in the wrong individuals there and I don't want to edit it and use it. I just want this team to be gone. I click on this option here, and then you'll see there it is. So you'll see I'm just highlighting a few of the buttons that you might have missed in your everyday navigation because you're not used to clicking on that button. You have your usual sequence of clicking. Now you can see, I can delete the team. And obviously if I delete, it deletes the team. Now the developers even thought of the option here to say, but what if I did this by mistake? I selected the 2023 one and I actually need the 2023 one because we are in 2023. Then there's an option to restore the deleted teams and it'll just bring it back. Okay, so that's just a quick, easy button there to delete your teams. As you know, you can edit the names there, but if you click on a team, let's say you're in a team session, you're busy presenting this to the team and they say, but listen, we're not called admin team. That was what we called last year. Now we've restructured and we call something different. Then there's a nice quick edit button there to say, okay, please call us what we need to be called, admin champs or whatever they were referred to. Great. And save. And so you would be able to edit it. So just highlighting that edit options in the team list, you can edit and delete. In the team view, you can edit the entire team. If what you're seeing on the system is Greek to you and you don't know about this, please go and look at the resources. It's an amazing function. I just want to leave you with that and not give you more today, that you actually go and see the detail in those webinars. Okay, now our very last function for today that I want to address is how to bring the value to someone outside of the organization. So hopefully everybody on the call today has the value of Shadow Match extended to them. So you're either working in an organization where your company extends this value to all of the employees. So you're part of the Shadow Match family. You have access to your results, you have access to a personal portal. So everything for you is there, or you're either a system user, so you actively work with this interface. But very often we find the requests coming in that someone says, but I want to extend this to someone in my personal sphere. So either family, either friends, loved ones, anybody not affiliated to the company. Because if I'm the user in company X, I can only use this for the employees or the applicants in company X. So what then? Good news, there's a designated report, a designated website specifically for this. Now, before I show it, just the introduction, this sits outside the Shadow Match system, so you don't have to worry if you're affiliated to Shadow Match in any way, that this will now somehow cross-link, and this is literally for individuals to request what they need. It's even open for you. Either you might be a Shadow Match consultant, a Shadow Match system user, you might done Shadow Match for 5 years or 10 years already, you're so familiar with the system, but this page is for an individual to request reports they need. Okay, so the reports page or reports website is a different URL. It's shadowmatchreports.com. On this page, I can request reports as an individual, but okay, maybe this is the first time I'm landing on the page. Hopefully they tell me how this works. Yes, we do. There's a very nice video and I want to show it that we can watch this together. So just let me unplug. And let's see, how does this page work?
Shadow Match works with habits. The system will ask you 70 questions, and by answering these questions, you tell the system about your habits. Then, based on your habits, Shadow Match can write many unique reports just for you. This is how it works. Once you've decided which reports you would like to buy, click on the button Quick Buy Reports and follow the process. Once your payment has been processed, the button to start your worksheet of 70 questions becomes active, and you can answer the questions. The system will also send you an email with a link to your worksheet, just in case you would like to do it later. The moment you've completed the worksheet by answering all the questions, Shadow Match will email the reports that you've purchased to you. You also get access to your dedicated personal Shadow Match portal, where you can access all your reports and personal Shadow Match services. On your portal, you will be able to buy relationship reports, personal development programs, and much more. Shadow Match builds systems that build success for all.
Right. Okay, so put yourself in the shoes of an individual that's never heard the term Shadow Match before. They might have heard their spouse or their friend talk about Shadow Match, but this is the first time they are invited to engage with something affiliated to Shadow Match. Now, this report is built for that, to say you're an individual, you want resources for you. Now, there's different reports, different focuses, because you might be anybody. You might be a student that wants to know, okay, but how should I optimally study? You might be in a love relationship and you want to unpack that relationship. You might want to learn more about yourself. So many, very many options, but this page gives you everything at a click of a button. So the Shadow Match reports page would then show you what are the actual reports that are offered on this page. Some of these reports might be even new to our audience today. You might have never seen this website, you might have never seen these reports. So just want to highlight a few of them. You will definitely be familiar with your Shadow Match personal feedback report showing your own habits, but take a look to the side here. Oh, there's an industry paradigm report. What is this? So this is a report that would explain to the individual in the wider scope of the paradigms of Industry 4.0 and the different paradigms in the industry setup. Where is your thinking? Where does your paradigm preference fall? And this also links back to the questions you would answer in this. So there's a nice report that you can maybe request today after the webinar if you were curious. But then back to the Shadow Match reports you might be familiar with, or the other reports you might be familiar with: personal feedback report, a career report, a study methods report, relationship reports, personal development programs, and then this industry paradigm report. So each of these reports, we can spend a whole hour on just discussing that and discussing the value. But on this page, the individual can then say, okay, what is this report? Tell me more about that report. I click on it, or I want to request an example report. So I want to know what I'm going to buy. Someone told me, go to this website, buy your own report. I want to see, what is it going to look like? Obviously, the example report would have fictitious data. It's not the individual's habits, but they can click, see the example report, and be in the know of what they're going to request. And as we saw in our how-to video, it explains the entire process to them to say, you can request any report that you need. How do you do it? There's a very nice quick buy report button. Once again, we're highlighting it that it's quick and easy. If you click on quick buy reports, you can add what you want into your cart, choose your payment option of preference, and the moment you then pay that, you would then either immediately have your reports, or you would have to do the worksheet. Remember what our video said, it's all based on your Shadow Match results. So just for you, for peace of mind, this audience, you say, but I've done Shadow Match before. I don't want to do Shadow Match again. I did it last week or last year, so my report is ready for action, or my results are ready for action. Everything is integrated everywhere. So if you have a current Shadow Match result, not older than 11 months, then you would immediately have that report and it's there. Otherwise, the system will guide you and say, okay, great, you want this report, but we want to make sure it's with your current updated habits. So there's a link and you complete the worksheet, everything explained to what they need. So just to summarize this page is specifically for individuals to engage with the system. Obviously, if you are part of the organization, you already have access to your personal portal, you already have access to the great functionalities there. This is to extend that one circle wider to say, my loved ones, my kid that is currently busy embarking in studies as a university student. I want them to get their career report and their study report. Send them to this website. You don't have to worry, where do you find it? Anybody, the person you meet whilst drinking coffee next week that says, I'm not happy with the way this year is going, I'm not in touch with myself, maybe I want to get to know myself a bit better, tell them, why don't you do your Shadow Match personal feedback report, get your entire scope of your habits, and then obviously the other resources will also be at their disposal. Okay, great. Lizette, that's all from my side. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. Let's just summarize what we discussed today is a few navigational tips on the Shadow Match engine, a few options you might not have seen if you're working with that screen every day, but it's basically allowing you to manage bigger chunks of data, managing your PDP progress effectively, managing your exports effectively, working with your stats, working with your teams, deleting teams that you don't need, and managing your worksheet invites if you have a lot of invites across different files on the system. And we ended off with that reports page, how to bring the reports to public outside of the organization. And you have the URL there, shadowmatchreports.com. Great, Lizette, thanks. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Suzanne. That was insightful. That was very well walked through, and I'm sure everybody learned something that they didn't know, specifically the small little buttons that we sometimes miss, where if we just click, we can actually see that, hey, I can do this myself. I don't need to send an email, or I don't need to phone the office. So thank you very much. As you've seen, dear delegates, that we want to try and make it as practical as possible. We haven't filled the entire hour. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the recording, and then I'm going to enable the setting for you to unmute your microphone, and then you are welcome to ask questions, even within your own file. If you would like to, that's why I'm going to stop the recording. If you want to share your screen and show us something and say, hey, I'm struggling with this, can you help? Then you are welcome to do this, because it will not be part of a recording. And it's obviously just then if you are comfortable to share it with the audience that we currently have on the call. So from my side, before you run, thank you very much, Suzanne, and thanks for joining. Please stay on, and then we will allow for questions.